This video is for AQA A-Level Business Studies. It's looking at the paper 3 and the exam technique involved in the 12-mark analyse question. So just a reminder, paper 3, it's got one compulsory case study followed by approximately 6 questions. 2 of those 6 questions is the 12-mark analyse question. So first of all, I'm going to kind of like provide an example of a previous 12-mark question, which was analyse how marketing research might have helped Sandbrooks to increase its market share between 2018 and 22. And the techniques that I use for this 12-marker kind of sets the techniques that are required for the majority, if not all, 12-markers. So this is from the exam grid. So remember, a level 3 response is the highest level for a 12-mark or any analyse question. And a good response is what we're looking for to get in that level 3 grid. So what does a student have to do? So first of all, they have to demonstrate a depth and a range of knowledge and understanding of issues in the question. They have to demonstrate analysis, which is well developed, applied effectively to the context, and considers a range of issues in this question. So that's key, considers a range of issues. So I'll come back to that in a minute. Also, in fact, the fact that you have to apply it effectively to the context, remember this paper 3 is a pretty large case study that is absolutely crucial for every single question. So the first thing I'd I suppose advise you to do is, do you fully understand what the question's asking? And this might sound like a really obvious question, piece of advice, but the amount of times that students misinterpret the question, and that is probably the most costly mistake you can make in any exam, because it will massively limit the level that you can achieve, and it might even equate to 0 out of 12 if you fully misinterpret. So make sure that you're looking at kind of like the plural keywords. So for example, in the mark scheme it says issues, and often what they might say is advantages. So look out, but what I'd also recommend is you should be having a look at more than one issue anyway in a 12 marker. Start your answer with one or more concise definitions. And the reason why I say one or more is because in the question, sometimes there's more than one focus. So if you look at this question, the focus is not just market research, but it's also market share. So I would start my answer with just a concise definition of both of those points, just to show that knowledge and understanding and make sure that it's apparent in your mind that they are the two really important focuses. Because what you could do, for example, is you could possibly just focus on market research and neglect market share. And by doing that, you would not be able to get to the top level because you're not answering the full demands of the question, or the examiner, sorry. So this is my my definition in terms of market research, my definition for market share. Now, if we move on, the case study I've already said is absolutely essential, and there'll be clues throughout the case study which will help you with this question. Remember, the case study is designed at the same time as the questions are designed. At the same time, the mark scheme is designed. So all the information in the case study is set out in a way to help provide the evidence that's required. So once you know what the question's asking, return to the case study, because if you return to the case study, you'll return to the case study with purpose. You'll know exactly what you're looking for, which is very different to, for example, reading the case study first and then reading the question and then attempting your answer. What you need to make sure that you do is you return to the case study and look out for those key points. All right. So, as I've already mentioned, remember the question is designed alongside the insert and mark scheme, so there'll be key data and it has to be used. Do not regurgitate what's in the case study. Because the case study is so long, there's lots of information. It might be tempting just to kind of repeat from the case study or paraphrase what's in the case study. You're just picking out the key points from the case study and then letting your knowledge, your understanding, and your analysis take over. So your job is to use it as evidence to support your analysis and not to storytell. Right, 2 well-developed points are sufficient. I don't think you need any more than 2 points. And the reason for that is because if you do more than 2 points, then your chains of analysis will start to become smaller and lack that depth that is required. So again, 2 points are sufficient. Make the point. Why is that a valid point in the first place? There might be many points that you could use for this, but you need to make sure that the points that you give are fully explained when you set that issue up. All right. So why is this a valid point? Why is it a valid point for this situation? And then you can start moving into the analysis. Think about the impact. So again, the impact on the specified area. The specified area in this question is market share. So how does that market research have an impact leading up to market share? You need to find the logical chain of analysis that leads up to that impact on that specified area. So the logical chain of reasoning, see it as kind of like a journey to get to that end point. Make sure that every sentence that you add, you do not allow the examiner to kind of stop, pause, and ask that question of why. If the examiner can ask why at the end of each of your paragraphs, there's an incomplete chain of reasoning somewhere. So you need to make sure that you fully explore and fully provide reasoning for every single argument that you make. Consider what key business concepts relate and are relevant, because that will strengthen your chains of analysis. It will show that your analysis is more technical, and it will just simply show off your knowledge to the examiner as well. But make sure that those business concepts are actually relevant and you're not trying to kind of do a tick box and just force it in. Right. So I just want to kind of give you an example of a type of response that I've been looking for a level 3. So again, my first paragraph, I've got my definition. So the systematic process of collecting, analysing and interpreting data about customers, competitors and market conditions to inform business decisions and identify opportunities. That's my market research. Whilst market share is the percentage of total sales in a specific market attributed to a particular company, product or brand, and you could even include the formula within that. So then what I've done is I've gone back to the case study and I've had a look, and I've thought, and there was lots of clues in the case study, but there's a couple of them which I thought was easier to kind of explore. So be specific. Think about which ones will help you the most in terms of show off your analytical skills. So I went to the case study, and in this particular insert, I saw about convenience stores. And then what I saw in the appendix was that there was data on that as well. So I thought, perfect, there's my evidence, that's my application. Brilliant. So I put, based on the market research conducted, data highlighted a growing segment related to local convenience stores. So that was in the written extract. By acknowledging geographic and behavioural characteristics, Sandbrooks increased their convenience stores by 354%. So I've included the geographic and behavioural characteristics as my own knowledge, because convenience stores is based on, obviously, in more local regions, and it's based on more kind of impulse and last minute purchases. The 354% was mentioned within the case study and within the appendix. And this change in store structure has enabled greater sales. So there's my analysis starting to come in. Most likely contributing significantly towards a 67% increase in overall sales income. Again, that was in the evidence. And as the convenience market is growing, by increasing its presence so aggressively, it is likely to have moved faster or before its rivals, boosting competitiveness and thus market share. So finding my link to market share and making sure it develops, it makes sense, it flows. And then I can get onto my second argument. So Sandbrooks also collects market research via their loyalty card. So again, I got that information from the extract. This has enabled them to track data on product purchases, helping inventory management. Now that again is based on my knowledge and my understanding of how loyalty cards can help with data. So by recognising the most popular items being bought, and this is me remembering that Sandbrooks is a retailer, they can be prioritised with greater procurement of such stock, ensuring high stock volumes to meet customer needs and maximise sales. This should have encouraged customer retention, continuously supporting market share. So again, in my last sentence, I'm always linking back to market share because it's a key focus of the question.